Hello and welcome everyone to Circuit Stream's XR Design Open House. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're going to be asking our guests questions about their experience in XR design, as well as some of the amazing tools and practices they are currently implementing. We're going to dive into Circuit Stream's educational programs with an emphasis on our 10-week interaction design and prototyping for XR course. We're also going to be getting a firsthand account of what it takes to go from being an XR enthusiast to an XR design expert. I'm your host, Brendan, and shortly we'll be joined by our guests for today, XR experts Gabriel Rovignoli and Diana Olenek. Before we get into it, I want to do a quick audio video check. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me and see me. It would be greatly appreciated. Hi all, is my sound okay? Is my audio, video good? Yep, all clear, awesome. Anwin, Tyler, thank you. Okay, beautiful. So also wanted to provide a quick overview of your layout here before we begin. So to the bottom right of your, actually I guess the top right of your presentation screen, you'll notice a little bell icon. If there are any notifications or sounds going off that are annoying to you, go ahead and hit that bell icon and it will silence all of them. You have your polls tab, questions tab, and chat tab. With regards to the chat, feel free to chat with anyone else here. We have some team members in the audience as well who would love to hear from you. Any questions you have throughout today's open house, go ahead and put them in the questions tab. We will do a Q&A at the end of the session. So we do want to just make sure those are well organized and we can kind of address all of those questions. Lastly, we do have a few polls today. So just kind of wanting to gauge the experience and interest of the audience. So I may just pop a few polls in there just to kind of, again, see your responses, get an understanding of who's with us today. So I'm your host, Brendan. I am on the partnerships team here at Circuit Stream. I come from a background in investment management and finance, which is a total snooze compared to the XR industry. So happy that I made that move. Fun fact about myself, I'm a competitive rugby player who has never broken a bone. And I attribute that little stat to my grandmother, who is Irish. Our first guest for today is Gabriel Rovignoli. He is the head of community at Shapes XR. Gabriel is a creative, a technologist, and a storyteller in any order that you'd prefer. He's also fun fact about Gabriel is he had at one point been featured in an Italian rap video as a parkour stuntman. So feel free, if our first question is about that, I would not be upset. Now about Shapes XR. So Shapes XR, for those who are unfamiliar, is a phenomenal VR application which launched its first iteration back in 2016 through Steam. It's used for VR creation and collaboration by teams working remotely. And it's used primarily for the purpose of designing, prototyping, and communicating in VR. Our other guest for today is Diana Olenek. So she's the studio director at M4 Method. She's an engineer, a speaker, and an XR designer. She is a Circuit Stream alumni and student ambassador. And fun fact about Diana, she became a registered yoga teacher who took the training so she could volunteer and share her insights and practice with the world. Now, what's on the agenda for today? I'd like to take the first 5 to 10 minutes to shed some more light on Circuit Stream. Then we'll kick off our interview segment with Gabriel, followed by Diana, which should take about 20 to 35 minutes. I'll then provide a breakdown of our course offerings here at Circuit Stream, which should take about 15 to 20 minutes, followed by a little surprise announcement towards the end for anyone in our audience or who may be watching this recording. Before we conclude, we'll take 10 to 20 minutes to field any questions you might have throughout this open house. Lastly, for anyone interested in an extended Q&A with our guests, we would love to have you jump into Shapes XR, where we'll continue our Q&A segment in a more open discussion format. Now, as a reminder, this open house will be recorded and sent to all registrants. So if you're joining us late or if you can't make it, we will send the recording. Don't worry. So who or what is Circuit Stream? Well, we were founded in 2015 when we identified a gap in the demand for education relating to augmented and virtual reality. Our goal has always been to share a foundation of knowledge on the best tools, processes, and workflows for Unity, as well as XR design and development. To date, we've helped over 50,000 learners develop these highly sought after technical skills. Number needs to be updated. What we have here at CircuitStream is a global team of industry experts who are passionate about accelerating the AR and VR industry through education. We have team members and instructors all over the world, which also helps us accommodate students across multiple time zones and geographies. CircuitStream is a Unity training and channel partner. Partners are approved based on their expertise, focus on quality education, and on the demonstrated success of their students. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Unity, they have created one of the most extensive and robust development engines on the market, which we'll shed more light on very shortly. Our instructors maintain the highest levels of certifications offered by Unity. Now, what exactly is Unity? So if you've seen this interface before, then you're most likely already familiar. And if you've seen this muffin clicker game on the screen, then you've probably been through our C# scripting fundamentals course. But for those of you who aren't familiar, Unity is a free 3D development engine for building games, simulations, and experiences. It is also one of the easiest ways to begin creating content for a multitude of devices and platforms, including those for augmented and virtual reality. And we know that Unity is used to create over 60% of the world's AR and VR content and is also responsible for an enormous share of the broader content application marketplace. Now, this engine isn't powered by gas or coal. It's powered by your ideas. Using its tools, interface, and incredibly broad scope of functionality, you would build your idea in Unity. Once you've created your application, you can then launch it on a multitude of devices using the relevant software developers kit, or SDK for short. Sounds pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Well, for those of you who have yet to download the free version or really get in there and familiarize yourself with it, Unity has quite the learning curve. Now, they have tons of great educational resources on their site, and there's no shortage of YouTube videos or blogs to help you along the way. But if you're looking to rapidly upskill and learn best practices, then look no further than CircuitStream. We've trained teams and professionals from some of the largest organizations in the world, such as VMware, Walmart, Hershey's, even the US Navy, just to name a few. We work with organizations large and small, right down to the individual learner. We're also partnering with both businesses and institutions in higher education to ensure that this industry has the talent necessary for its continued growth. Our catalog of XR certification and professional development courses are now even more accessible to students through our university partners. You can now get XR and Unity certifications through well-established institutions such as the University of San Diego, the University of California, Riverside, Syracuse University, the University of British Columbia, the University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies, Syracuse University, which I already mentioned, and the University of Nevada, Reno. Now, what exactly are we offering here at CircuitStream? Well, the focus of today's conversation will rotate largely around our interaction design and prototyping for XR course. But I wanted to give everyone a brief lay of the land here at CircuitStream with regard to our broader course offerings. So we also have our XR Development with Unity course, which focuses on programming and app creation. And then we also have our Unity Developer Bootcamp. So that's actually 30 weeks, says 24 there, but the bootcamp is 30 weeks long and teaches you all of the skills you need to become a Unity developer. Now, right before we invite our first guest up on stage, I'd like to ask the audience a few questions in the form of a poll. So you'll notice your polls tab at the bottom right of the event screen to the left of the chat tab. I'll pop the following questions into that polls tab, and you can go ahead and answer those if you'd like to. So the first question is, how much experience do you have with UX? So let me get that in there for you. There we go. So the first one's been published. The next question is, which, if any, XR-specific design tools are you currently using? And it looks like that one was posted as well. Perfect. Okay. Excellent. So first up on stage, Gabriel, we'd love to have you. Are you around? Are you available?
Of course. Here I am. Let me get also my camera.
Okay,
Back
beautiful.
live. Here we go. Hello, everybody.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you everyone in the audience for sharing your answers on those polls. We will revisit those.
Indeed. No, I was sorry. I didn't answer Brandon because I was like, okay, let me see. Who are we talking to? And I was surprised. Pen and paper, 56%. We need to talk about this later.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you heard it from Gabriel. Get on there and get that question answered. So, awesome. Thank you very much for being here today, Gabriel. I have a few questions. I'd like to start off with what is Shapes XR and who is it for?
Absolutely. So Shapes XR is a design and a prototyping tool for XR. So when we say about XR, I'm talking about AR and VR. And by the way, I invite everybody to actually go and check it out right now, because as Brandon said, at the end, we're going to share a space code, and then we'll be able to meet there. So get your Quest Pro, Quest 1, Quest 2, whatever you have, you can download it, and you're going to have a first glimpse of how that works. We will not have the chance, unfortunately, the opportunity to communicate, because, yeah, you're using this audio. If you use other audio, this echo, blast. And I see Donald D that has it already installed. So thanks for that. And so to give a bit more context indeed, so go there, download Shapes XR, but let me tell you a little bit about what it is. So many people refer to it as Figma for XR. So it is a tool to design and prototype. And unlikely what are these 2D tools do, you can start doing it directly in 3D, in space, in VR, taking advantage of what is one of the major traits of this new tool, the fact they are extremely intuitive. And what Brandon said also, I think, resonates in a way. He mentioned, hey, but Unity does have a learning curve. On the other hand, it is something that also designers need to grasp at the basics, and that's important. On the other hand, when it's about generating idea, having that friction about the limitation that the tools put to you, then sometimes kind of like leads to maybe slow ideation. Maybe it's just a big obstacle for people to start. And that's why we have seen so many designers start creating and generating their idea in directly in Shapes. So you can go there, use a brush to sketch things. You can import your image. You can import your assets, and like many other things that are not many other things, like other creative apps. Where you are creating something steady in space, whether it be a 3D model, maybe an artistic drawing, or something on that line. One thing that makes Shapes XR stands apart is the ability for that to tell stories. So that means, and these stories can be everything, right? It can be an interaction, can be a user journey, and how is that done? That's done with a stage system. So you have basically like frame of a storyboard that allow you to prototype frame by frame what that interaction actually look like. So I more than happy to get any other questions, but also get Diana on stage. But I think more importantly, then later maybe we can hop in first, the two of us, Diana. I know that you're listening here, and then show some things, a bit of it, and then move forward. And and that's why I'm very excited, because I think that having a tool that allows people to start creating is going to lower that barrier. And that's why we're so happy indeed about your great instructor being master in Shapes XR, being, for example, Alita, like a huge ambassador in the XR space, and the whole team with which we work closely to even support and sketch out the whole curriculum. So very, very happy to be here, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you again for joining us. It's an awesome app. I will definitely be hopping in there myself afterwards. Question about, again, Shapes XR, like what would be the problems that Shapes XR solves first and foremost, or maybe the most predominant ones?
Right. The first, and that is really relevant for so many of you that are now listening, is the fact that to start creating ideating in 3D starts to get tricky. And whenever what you have created is a hi Nima, by the way, nice to see you. And keep stuff coming, because I love questions. I love to be interrupted. So keep going. So what it solves is that finally you can start creating in 3D. So you don't have that first barriers. You can, and when you are in and you start creating, you will realize that you start creating something that already works at scale, right? You already start thinking about like positioning of the object, how big the space is, how far the UI is, how big it is, what should happen next. So your brain starts immediately thinking in space, and consequently your design are gonna become more spatial from step zero, from the right moment that you start ideating. Right. So that is one important thing. The other thing is, of course, that how often the design process is plagued by miscommunication, because that's what it is, right? There is a product manager, there is the clients, there is the developers, and all these say yes, and no, but they're meaning different things, because it's just so hard sometimes to understand something without having actually seen or touched it. Right. So, but since you're still early in the design phase, what are you going to do? Build everything in Unity as a design step? That's just extremely expensive and time consuming. So just facilitating that communication and then understanding ultimately leads to something that you can basically hand over more confident, that the developer doesn't need to make any guesswork. Okay, now I get it. This is kind of thing. I kind of get it, or what the design means. And lastly is the fact that very often there are projects that haven't got funded yet, right? Maybe you have an idea that you have to show with someone, but you don't have funds, you don't have developers, you don't have your own time. How can you start communicating about it quickly without spending incredible amount of time? Well, the best thing is that use Shapes and then pitch it. And this is not something that I'm coming up with. We have companies that have used Shapes to pitch their project to Meta, to investors. So really, people at Meta are receiving pitches about products in Shapes. That, I think, it's a great validation and just an idea of the power of this tool.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you can kind of have many different kind of perspectives or insights all in the room as it's being kind of developed or created, and that way there's no broken telephone along the way.
Right.
That's incredible. Awesome. How's it being used? Kind of, what are the different scenarios? You mentioned people are pitching. Like, do you have any, I guess, examples of what kind of ideas have been pitched using Shapes XR?
Right. I think it depends. So we have one very simple example is usually environment gray boxing. So that's what you have an environment, you put some boxes there and says, okay, this is how the environment should feel like. That's one of the first. The other is basically interactions. So then you move these and you go more granular into the stage system, where you go from step to step to step to step. So one at a time to show what is actually is an interaction. Maybe what I can do is very, very quickly share my screen. I was not planning to, but I think it does make sense in this case. Let me get a space here. Where is it? Here we go, and let me open it up. So while I start to share my screen. So the idea is that who has, maybe I'm asking a question in the chat. Who has played Bone Lab? Who has played Bone Lab? One of the most popular game on the Quest Store. Like incredible amount of fun. Yes, Michael. He was one of those. Let me share something here. Only Mike. I cannot believe it.
No, I'm familiar as well. Don't you worry.
That's it. So let me show just quickly one thing. So this is a prototype. One thing that I love about that was the changing scale mechanic. I really loved it. Changing body form, right? They would have done it with a standard dial. No, instead they went the extra mile and come up with this sort of system that you have on your elbow that could have been anywhere, right? Could have been on your hand, could have been on your palm of your hand, could have been other way. No, they went the whole way around to kind of actually have that mechanic about pulling and then changing form by pulling the string. So this is an example of how this interaction works, and it's all prototype in Shapes. So you see how actually you pull, you change, and then you actually then end up in another form. So if I move back to this is in first person. Here I'm sharing just via the web, but you can get the code and get it in. So you see, this is how the whole thing looks, right? And it's a prototype that shows what? It shows what are, for example, Hoover state of that interaction system when it's inactive. It shows when the thing is active and how the sphere that is in this system actually the white sphere that is in there gets bigger the closer you put your hands on it. If you look closely, that's how it works. And how instead there is an active state of that specific sensor that you have on your elbow. So this is just to share about how, and I can go back to the previous viewpoint and I can re-show this to you again. Again, this is just done with a series of stage, a series of frames that then leads to that in kind of like interaction. And there is a lot going on here that seems trivial, but you really need to realize how much work went into that simple interaction. And this is how an example of how that was prototyped using, could be prototyped using shapes when we talk indeed about interactions design. So just an example.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your screen there. That's great. Do you have a download code or Spaceline that you can share?
Of this space, yep. You know what? Why not? I'm copying it here. I'm leaving in the chat, and anybody can go there and check it out. It's just on web. So everything that you have created on Shapes could actually, from the shapes.app web panel, can be shared with anybody, and then you can just go through it and share it with anybody that doesn't have a headset.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Last question for you, Gabriel, is why should people get into XR design as a career right now?
Yeah, so I think that there is a lot going on, and it was honestly I feel like not a better moment. I mean, we might argue about what is happening currently with layoff. We all know, right? Let's not neglect that. On the other hand, the fact is that, and to be realistic, this is a journey, right? It's something that you start investing on, and you cannot expect the immediate return in a matter of 1-2 weeks. So if you start now, you are in a perfect moment where there is also another very interesting dynamic that I think it's important, and it's that mixed reality world, right? Right now, there is all that transition into that new type of content that is even newer than and even more hot, given the interest from the industry, the amount of mixed reality headsets that are being pushed on the market with those capabilities. We need designers, and we need them now. And you see, not just me because saying it, but there is like companies all over are starting to hire more and more of these XR designers, because just they are realizing the cost of leaving everything in the hands of developer, right? That, with all due respect, they are great at coding, but they might not be as good in design. And consequently, this has tremendous cost for companies that are using that are losing customers, whether that be on the store in terms of users that play their games, or customers that run a POC, get a shitty experience back, with all due respect, and then they don't come back for a second project. So there is now this awareness, and there is really not a better time to start doing it, because hey, the tools are here, the resources that you guys offered are here, and if you want to put in the work, you can get a Quest 2 for a pretty decent price, and then start immersing yourself in this world.
Yeah, I always liken it to the old phone adage. Like, we had our dial phones, and then our Motorola Razors, and now we have basically computers in the palm of our hands. That's kind of where we're at. We're at the starting phase in the VR AR industry, where it still needs a lot of work in terms of like human interaction. So that's a great point.
A lot. And we need you. So the moment is now, guys. Really, I mean it. I really, really mean it. And look, if you don't want to use Shapes, it's totally fine, but please join, because we need really, really more creative ideas. And I think Shapes is a great way to start to build your portfolio. SilkStream provides a lot of supports there, but just please, we need you.
Awesome. Well, you heard his message, his outcry. Let's everybody start designing for these platforms. I think it's very much in demand right now. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and insights, Gabriel. We will and I'm sure our audience will have tons of questions for you during the Q&A. Right now, we'll jump to our next guest, and then we'll have you back maybe in about 15 to 20 minutes or so.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Okay. Great. Well, right now, I'd like to welcome Diana on stage. Diana, are you with us? Was a slight delay.
Yes. How are you doing today? How is everyone going? Can you hear me well? Because
I can hear you.
Sometimes we have these tech issues. I want to make sure that I'm speaking and everybody is listening. I'm super excited to be here. It's such an honor. Sharing a little bit of what I do, my background, and of course, connecting with every single one on LinkedIn. If you haven't put your account there, just do it. I'll be following you for sure.
Great. Yeah, it's a great call. Let's all get connected. Everyone here is obviously interested in the same space, so let's get connected and let's chat about it. Awesome. Well, again, thank you very much for being here. I'd love to understand how you got started in this space. So I have a couple of questions just kind of around your experience and how you learned or how you kind of developed this skill set. Can you tell us about your background, like why and how you developed such a passion for XR as well as design?
Yeah, thank you so much for your question. Okay, so as you can see by my accent, I'm not originally from Canada, but I'm located here in Canada. I have a degree in engineering, in industrial engineering, actually back from my country. And when I came to Canada, I found myself like with the struggle of getting a job in engineering, etc. The type of struggles that we go through when we are migrating to another country. And then eventually, after many years, I was able to get registered as an engineer here in Canada because it's an occupation that is regulated. And I practice as a professional engineer, as a project engineer, actually, and design engineer working for the government where I live in Manitoba. But I had kind of like a side hustle, which was building apps, no code apps or low code apps. So then I sold many of these apps like locally to businesses, people from the States, etc. And I was so excited about that. It was all going well. But because I'm a very curious person and I love technology, I started to research, and these kind of things come across to us on the internet, right? Artificial intelligence already knows what we like. So then I saw these immersive technologies, and I started to research more and more about that. At the point that I said, I think that this is the time, exactly as Gabriel was mentioning. If I wait more, then I'm gonna regret that it was too long and I didn't jump on time, and I'm gonna get behind as a professional. So I decided to jump and begin the program. Of course, it has been amazing. I can let you know a little bit about that, but this is why I developed a passion, because as an engineer, I could see the applications in construction, in architecture, in engineering, in business, in media, in entertainment. I'm a little bit of I'm an engineer, but I'm a little bit curious about other fields of work. For example, marketing, all of these things have taken me to the point of becoming even, for example, a mentor for business startups here in Winnipeg, where I live. And I even can see a lot of potential in training in all of these fields, not just gaming, which is what typically we believe. And that's why I had my passion, because honestly, I'm not a gamer. I don't come from that background, but I can see a lot of potential in other industries. And I'm pretty sure that in any of the industries that you are right now, this is gonna get at some point. So that's why I became like passionate about XR and started to investigate and found Circuit Stream. And that the rest is history. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's such a great point. Like, this is technology that applies to many different industries, many different markets, and it's really all kind of helping to create efficiencies where maybe they didn't exist before. So yeah, that's a great call out, and thank you for sharing. Can you share with us what your experience was like going through the interaction design and prototyping course here at CircuitStream?
Yeah. Well, that's it's been a journey like everything else. I think that I've learned throughout my life and also applied through the course, that rather than having the set expectation, just letting ourselves take by the flow, right? I didn't know where I was gonna, end up with. Still, we don't know, and nobody can know for certain the future. But when I came, I honestly never used Unity like before in my life, like specifically Unity. And it was at the beginning like, what? This is amazing. Like all the type of things that people build, animations, movies, that open up my imagination. And at the same time, I found it a little bit like, wow, I thought that it was going to be so fast, that I could learn in the first day. And it wasn't. But the truth is that as I was moving in the program, I was realizing that it was all about practice like everything else. Like learning these platforms is all about committing ourselves to study, and sometimes on our own, and maybe choosing a project that actually motivates us, like that pushes us so hard that we really are enticed to use the platform, because we need to make that project real. So I found myself inspired by, I think that Lynette here on the comments was asking if I have ever applied any of these background that I have, passion for yoga and this type of mindfulness things. And actually, I came to the program with a project in mind related with mindfulness, which is in the field of mental health. um, and that project, that very project, actually pushed me that at the end I was able to show something for a demo day. So I was able to design a concept. And the concept was so beautiful that people was telling me in the comments, the video is in YouTube if you want to take a look. People was excited, telling me, how can we help you? It's so beautiful. It is about the story of a 4-year-old who is diagnosed with cancer. And the parents go through this very, very complicated situation. And but the idea of the app is that it takes us in that journey, in that self journey, where you become that little girl, and then we become more compassionate. And there has other tools actually from even psychology, like CBT, if you know about psychology, is about cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's related with mindfulness and how these things can be, instead of written in a book, which was my initial idea, now lived actually in a practical world. So that project motivated me so much, and I even cried, like saying, this is beautiful, when I received all of these messages. And I said, I have to build this. This is my advice also. Let's get in a project that make us feel so excited, like so passionate, that we actually put aside the fact of that maybe the platform is difficult, maybe we don't have all the time, because we are busy, we have jobs, we have families, etc. But little by little, we are advancing in our dreams, if it really comes from the form of passion. And during the program, many amazing things happen. One of those ones is that I like to build virtual worlds as well, because I have always had this dream of a space and minimalist, design, and dreaming, like dreaming with the spaces. And I saw the medium also when I was learning Unity, how for post-processing, we could use these amazing tools in order to create things that look realistic, beautiful, very well done. So I partnered with a person from Colombia, an industrial designer, to start building a couple of worlds. And we came across, by putting the world in one of these famous platforms, specifically, we came across a professor from Germany who wanted to build a university. So that during the program, that was the very first world that we built and that we sold, which is unbelievable, because before I took the course, when I was reading blog posts that were saying this person sold a digital building, for me that was crazy, honestly. Like, how people is buying digital worlds. I mean, I love interior design, I love beautiful stuff, how could I create something beautiful as well if that is part of my passion? And we sold the university, which was very, very exciting. So that take us to other projects, building this type of experiences, all because I decided to make that decision of taking Unity, like XR interaction design and prototyping. And after that, or I mean, we continue working with those type of projects, but the possibilities open up. So we might start the course with one expectation, but I'd say it's better not to have any expectation, because we never know what type of doors are gonna open, and it might not go exactly in the direction that we want, and it's absolutely all right. The most important thing is to actually obtain the core skills that we need, and then we can apply it in many creative ways that we want. And another thing that happened during that is that I applied to the Oculus Launchpad, because I said, why not? This is another thing, is that I don't make assumptions of how the life has to be for me. I say the worst that can happen is that they say no, and it's all still okay. Like, I'm still getting my skills, it's all cool. So I had this attitude, and I received an email saying you were accepted. So then I got this beautiful opportunity to take this program bootcamp, etc., and a lot of resources from Facebook directly, or Meta, and being speaking with these engineers, learning from them, getting additional training. I developed a world for the builders track, and I won an award. So I'm an award winner right now. I'm very excited about that. There were many practices that I learned from them and that I applied for that world. And it was a world, again, about a futuristic world where humans in that time are absolutely living in peace and calm. So it's beautiful. It's called Avant-Garde, because it's kind of like about vanguard, like progressive thinking. It was a very, very beautiful experience. And all other opportunities, like, for example, I now have been a speaker in different events, like the last week actually, for the XR Global Conference about XR design, where I actually featured Shapes XR, and for my work, and also ethics in XR, because I honestly believe I didn't know I was going to speak about this before I took the course, but I felt so much in love from my background also in engineering and ethics, that I said, wow, this topic should have been more discussed between all the aspiring designers, the ones that are professionals. Everybody should be speaking about this topic, because if we don't do it, nobody's gonna is gonna take action. So it has to be something that becomes, like, important in the field, in the media, that it is something that we request and that people is caring about. So I did these events, all also because I took the program and I got amazing insight, and yeah, have met many people, have made many connections, at the point that I wanted to give back to the community, because for me it is very important to that's how, part of my standards of life. The more you give, the more things open up in the ways that maybe we don't think that they are gonna go. So I decided to create a podcast for people who wants to learn about these amazing founders and how they raised the funds, how they created their apps, how they did all of this amazing work, how they assembled teams, and all of these important things. And it's called the XR Magazine Podcast, which is available in all platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google. And the podcast has been a very amazing opportunity for me to share with the founders, of course, the journey, and as well for people to learn from them, directly from them, because when we go to the store, we go to Oculus, we never know who is that person behind. We enjoy the app, but how about the story? How can we humanize the experience and learn from all the background that happened to make this amazing experience? So that's why it was created, and it was all because I took this program. So
Oh
yeah,
my
that's a little
goodness.
bit of sharing of my experience.
You have been very, very busy. Oh my goodness. Where do you find all the time? That's insane.
Have you guys ever read a book that is called The 4 Hour Work Week? Like something like that, from Tim Ferriss? I guess you maybe because it's a famous book. I said that to Dejan. Yes. Yes. Okay. It's true what I'm saying. What I did, I'm gonna share a little tip with you guys. This is not only for when you are an entrepreneur. Like if we are employees, we still can apply this. I promise you. And it's gonna give you another perspective. The perspective of the employee is one that the system has imposed in us. The perspective of the entrepreneur can be applied even if we are an employee, and we can enhance our lives. I promise you, because I did it. It's not because I just read it. If you get yourself someone who can help you with certain tasks, you can focus in what is absolutely important that nobody can replace you. For example, if I want to show myself and my perspectives, etc., I cannot hire an assistant, right? Because it's me showing in the camera. But there are other things behind that can help us. For example, creating a community, creating assets, marketing, sending emails, etc. And that's how I do it also. That's my secret also, that I decided to support someone in a country that maybe a third world country that needs the money, that maybe I could, help them and that family. And I hired an assistant from Philippines. And I believe that I am doing something beautiful for that family and that beautiful lady, because they are really in difficult situations. And if we are in the position to help them, it's like a win-win for everybody. So that's how I find the time.
That is crazy. Yeah, I gotta check that book out myself. I have heard of it, but I haven't given it a read yet. Awesome. Thank you, Diana. Well, I have one more question for you that's design related, and that is, what do you recommend trying or getting started with for anyone new to this space, specifically design or XR design?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question, because when we start the course, we sometimes are uncertain, right? Like we don't know what to expect. We're gonna take it, but and it's good. Like as I mentioned, it's better not to have expectations. But I think that starting with the right foot, like a little bit more confident, a good thing that I would recommend is to make some sort of self-assessment of where do I want to see myself, or how I want to see myself. It's not because you're going to put all your expectation in that thing that you want, but just to help yourself to discover, what is your passion. And the reason why I say that is because, believe me, I've been through the situation of transitioning from a career. I know how it is. I know that it's difficult, that we have had maybe 10 years of experience in an industry, in a company, etc. And how are we going to get rid of that just all of a sudden? Well, you don't have to do it. It is just a matter of finding yourself of what is really, really, really your passion. Because now with this new set of skills, probably you're not going to be doing exactly the same that you're doing right now. So in some ways, it is a transition of a career, and it takes a little bit of courage also, and a little bit of work and time and patience to actually make it effectively. I say there is something that I really love about, I love Japanese culture, that I was telling you about, minimalism, all of these things. There is one term that maybe you've heard about that, which I like to point sometimes, is called ikigai. I also share this type of things in Career Labs. And this is all about the purpose, finding the purpose of life. And I find that is very relevant, because sometimes we decide onto jobs, we decide onto careers, etc. And maybe life changes, right? Or interests change as well. So we need to refine or realign with what is the new passion or the new thing. We don't have to necessarily stay forever like that. We always have options to change. And in today's world, being a designer, in my own personal opinion, is like before we thought that we needed to be a formal author or writer in order to write a book. In this world today, anybody can write a book, as well as videos. You had to be a professional actor, whatever, but now everybody can make videos. Anybody can learn design. It's just a matter of creating something, just having a project, creating it, and showcasing it, and trying to get a job in that field. It's just a matter of knowing exactly what you want. And speaking about the ikigai, quickly, I want to say ikigai is, as I mentioned, is called the purpose of life. And the idea is that you think on what you are good at and then you pair this with what you can be paid for, and that kind of intersection is going to be what is your profession, what you should be doing, and that combined with what the world needs would be your vocation. So what I am really contributing that actually matches what profession I should have. And that when you combine that with what you actually love, it becomes your mission, and that mission combined what you are good is now your passion. So the combination of all of these ones creates what is like the actual why, like the why you are doing what you're doing in life. And there is nothing that can boost you better than this. Like other people can be doing X and Y and you love it, but maybe that is not your ikigai. That's not your purpose in life. So align it. And when you take the course, like if you find that this is your actual path, you're not gonna find excuses, or you're not gonna find frustrations, because it is aligned with your purpose of life. This is something that I recommend anybody doing it. As long as it is passion, I say, for example, a job that I could be doing even if nobody paid me was making maybe virtual worlds, because I love it. It's just like a form of art. Even when I'm making it, I feel like if the artist, when he's painting, I guess, it's relaxing. So in the same way, we can do any type of job as long as it is aligned with your own passion. That would be my recommendation for starting the course. And of course, you're going to do super, super well, because if it's part of your purpose in life, why not?
So the practical guide to getting started, just start with something small, a project, just learn, just get kind of dip the toes, so to speak. And then, make sure it's something that you're passionate about, of course.
Yeah, having a small project, please. That is another recommendation. I just want to emphasize that. So that also pushes you forward, right? As I mentioned before. So a little bit of a project in mind, something, and then you're going to have a result at the end that you're going to feel very proud of, and you're going to be sharing it. And of course, you're going to have some sort of portfolio ready in order to get the job that you want, or the business or a startup or whatever that you are looking for.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Diana, for imparting your wisdom with us here. We'll see you again very shortly. I'm gonna go through a little bit more of Circuit Stream's information and courses, but we'll definitely see you at the Q&A session shortly. So please, if anyone watching has questions for either of our guests, go ahead and post them in that questions tab. Again, we will revisit those towards the end of our open house today. Before we continue, I'm just going to post 2 more polls under the polls tab, which we would love to just get your feedback on. The first one being, how serious are you about an XR design career? So let me go ahead and post that. Sorry, there's a long list of questions here. And then the second one we'd love to understand a little bit more are, would you like to get in touch with any of our admissions reps? So if you're wanting to learn more about the courses, and I will, again, share a little bit more information before we go to the Q&A. But if you have any questions, or if you are just curious to learn more, how serious are you about, getting in touch with one of our admissions representatives? So that's been posted as well. Go ahead and check out that polls tab, and we would, again, just appreciate any feedback that you have for us. So to help you kind of visualize some of the things that Diana would have created during her time here at Circuit Stream, I wanted to share some of the sample projects our students have created during their studies. So whether that is creating scenes and environments using Unity, much like Diana just described, developing their own exciting experience in AR, using tools like Vuforia, or perhaps programming interactions for your applications using C# scripting. Our students build a robust skill set around the XR industry's leading tools and practices. So these are just some of the projects that you can work on throughout some of our courses here at Circuit Stream. Our success stories include students who have gone on to launch their own companies or apps, change industries, or achieve promotions with their current organizations, as well as funding winners who have been able to pursue their own ideas, which they started during their courses. And Diana is not the only one in that scenario, so it happens more often than you think. So again, if you're looking to build your skills, we would love to help. And we'll start off just taking a look at our interaction design and prototyping for XR. It's a live instructor-led curriculum. As Diana touched on, is a project and portfolio-driven learning experience supplemented with opportunities to acquire an XR designer certification. The course has live instruction twice a week and ample opportunity to get extra support with CircuitStream's XR community via open office hours. You'll leave the course with more than 3 portfolio projects and hands-on experience with augmented and virtual reality design methodologies. Course is priced at $3,950 US, and the next upcoming cohort is going to be launching on December 12th. And then, although our university partner cohorts have the same launch dates, I just wanted to take you through each of their kind of splash pages. They have their URL here. So if you're wanting to learn more or check out the courses through our partners, go ahead and take a look at the URLs at the bottom here. And just make note, so this one is for the University of British Columbia Extended Learning. We've also partnered with the University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies. The University of San Diego Professional and Continuing Education. And also one other thing I'd love to know, I don't think I asked this at the beginning, I'd love to know where everyone's joining us from. So in the chat, if you care to share, we'd love to just hear, how far our reach is for today. I myself am in Toronto, Canada. Diana is also in Canada, over in Manitoba. But we would love to just hear where everyone's from. So we got Bay Area, Toronto. Okay, awesome. Netherlands, there he is, Gabriel. Vancouver, Montreal, lots of Canadians, awesome, fellow Canucks. Boston, North Carolina, holy smokes. Italy, Louisville, awesome. Well, thank you guys all for joining us. Holy smokes. So we're all over the place today, which is great. We're also partnered with the University of California, Riverside. So if you're close to there and that's a school you would be looking into, go ahead and take down that URL. The Syracuse University, pardon me. Again, all of them the same launch dates, December 12th. That's going to be a big date for us here at CircuitStream. And then certainly last but not least, the University of Nevada, Reno. If you are close by, I'm sure they would love to chat further with you. So just moving from the kind of design focus, just wanted to share a little bit more about some of the other courses that we have here. So our XR Development with Unity is also a beginner-friendly course, and it's structured very similarly to the XR Interaction Design course. So you can expect the same project-driven, live instructor-led format, complete with its own XR development-specific certification. Like the Interaction Design course, you will also have lifetime access to the supportive CircuitStream community, as well as your class recordings for convenient viewing at any time. So that is across the board available. And the difference here is the launch is a few days later on December 15th. So our big bootcamp, the Unity Game Developer Bootcamp, again, that's a 30-week program. That's going to be launching on the 28th of February in the new year. Prepares you for a 3D development career. You'll learn about C# coding logic. You'll build over 10 projects, including one that is your very own brainchild. There's one-on-one career services and support. It is a professional program. The idea is that you will land a job in this field. And then it comes with industry recognized certifications. And we also have a few scholarship options available. Closer to the information about that is made available closer to the launch date. Now, personally, my favorite part about the education we provide has to be our CircuitStream community. So it's a great place to network, collaborate, or participate in events like game jams. It's also where the enduring support for students and alumni resides. So we have open office hours 5 times a week with our instructors that are available to existing students and all of our alumni. This is great for continued learning, troubleshooting, and project support. And I want to give a massive shout out to Lucy and Arki. So they're both very much involved with the community. They also, mix things up regularly in there with coffee hours, showcases, and events like Demo Day, where students are invited to share their personal projects and stories. Just a reminder, with all of our courses, there's no experience required. beginners are certainly welcome. And yeah, don't feel like you have to have this extensive past with C# or programming or design to be able to come and learn, the concepts and basics. And we will, happily take our time to teach you. Now, one more quick note about our beginner-friendly XR courses. So that would be the interaction design as well as the XR dev course. Those are both 10-week courses. We have the standalone option. Each of those are $3,950. And then we also have our bundle, our plus package, which comes with 10 hours of one-on-one time with an instructor, as well as our C# scripting fundamentals, go at your own pace course. So we recommend using those one-on-one hours for a project of your own, but you can go in any direction with those you like. So if you need additional help with a certain topic, certainly you can explore that with an instructor. Now, with regard to the Game Dev Bootcamp, the 30-week program, so after completing an admissions test, which just kind of helps us understand your experience level, you'll be asked to secure your seat by making a $1,000 non-refundable deposit. To complete your enrollment, there are a few ways to, you can finance your tuition as well. So you can pay upfront, and we also have payment plans and finance plans available through our partner Climb. So for international students, we have in-house financing options, and then for anyone in the US, we typically leverage Climb to help them with their financing. Now, I told you I had a special announcement. So we do have a kind of an early announcement for our Black Friday sale. Typically, we do this every year, and you'll get more information about it, but we're starting with 15% off on our courses and bundles. Again, we will send you more information about this shortly after. All of our registrants for the open house today will be the first to know. If you'd like to chat more in depth about your Unity and or XR education goals, or perhaps learn more about CircuitStream and any of our course offerings, feel free to contact our admissions team. So Stella, Leanne, Roham, Shoshana, and Robin would love to chat your ear off about your learning goals as well as what we offer here at CircuitStream. If you're looking to download the syllabus from ourselves or any of our partners, check out some of these URLs, and we can post these in the chat as well. But yeah, these are all the partner URLs that you can source our syllabus from. Oh, Z is all over it. That was very quick, Z. Thank you. Excellent. So we'll get to the Q&A. I want to thank everyone first and foremost for joining us today. Especially special thanks to our guests, Gabriel and Diana, for sharing their time and insights with us. And at this point, I'd like to invite them back on stage, and we can get going with some of the questions that you've posted.
Yes, here I am. Diana is still with us.
Wonderful. Awesome. And Diana as well. Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thanks, guys, for jumping back on. So we'll start with this question is from Nicholas, posted by Z. What kind of pay ranges do new XR designers find? Great question.
So Diana, you want to take it? Because I am not sure, actually. I mean, I think it depends very much on the location, and there are major differences between the US and Europe. So that I wouldn't, honestly be 100% sure to how to answer that.
Yeah, based on my experience speaking with the different founders that I interview, that always after the podcast is finished, I ask them questions about career. Like, I like to establish connections so I can maybe link people from CircuitStream with maybe their companies. Arrange maybe in the States starting out of $50,000, $60,000 or so. It's different for every company, of course, and depends also on the experience. But maybe the question is new XR designers, maybe 50, 60, something like that in the States, and in Canada, that would be an average. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So we've seen kind of starting salaries in and around that range. We typically have seen 60 and up. And then depending on obviously experience, if maybe you have a background not specific to XR, but in design, then the ceiling is a little higher than that for sure.
I like
And
to
I
add
suppose
something
depends
quickly.
also on the region, probably maybe like East Coast, West Coast. So that also makes a difference city-wise. So I think.
I like to add quickly that when you're selling yourself in an interview, you need to sell yourself also adding the skills that you have that are very valuable from your other jobs, because that might determine in an interview how, even though you're a new designer, you also have all that other background from your other professions that maybe might raise your, your level in the company. So
yeah, 100%. That's a great point too. I know one thing that we've been very, very deliberate about adding to our boot camp is those soft skills. So that's a professional course, and we want to make sure that you not only just have the skill set for pursuing a career in Unity development, but we also want to make sure that you have the skills available to work with a team and be able to communicate your ideas. And that's something that we're very careful to work with as well. So thank you guys. Next question is from Jen. What would be the learning path from being a graphic designer to XR designer? What are the tools that I need to learn?
Well, I mean, I think the first and foremost, what I hear very often is, what do I do when I start? The first thing I see really is to get a quest and start being immersed. So experiencing those apps, try to, in general, experience really those applications, analyze, dissect their UI and their UX, and start building your own knowledge in this world. Being already a graphic designer, you certainly have the background, Brandon, right? Whose was this question? I'm not sure.
Oh, this is Jen. This is Jen.
Jen, I'm sure you do have the background to actually look critically at UX, UI, and how certain experiences look and feel, and then make your own judgment. Then, after that, you can start creating your own, start using ShapesXR, for example, to start design, prototype, recreate what you have seen, maybe create variants, and then build your portfolio, even with something like adding a bit of your skill also into Unity. Because, for example, what you have created in Shapes, you can get it directly into Unity, and then that could become the base for your project, and then you can start working on. So that is like let's say an evolution, a transition where you start experiencing, analyze, dissecting, recreating, moving slowly into Unity, and this is gonna provide the foundation for the transition that you're looking for.
Perfect. And Diana, any insight there?
yeah, I think that as Gabriel mentioned, having using your own sense of the design, because graphic designers already have some sort of detail, eye detail, etc. You can transfer most of those skills. It's just that in XR design, there is, similar to typical UX design, certain flow for how the process goes. So it's becoming familiar with that. I think that is actually not a difficult bridge to achieve there. Graphic designers actually have the advantage of already being immersed with this type of media, editing, and doing all of these type of things. So I think that it's easier. Sometimes there are projects where I've seen graphic designers specializing, because this is a huge field, specializing in 3D modeling, like environmental design. And sometimes I've seen graphic designers that maybe really want to create more animations or things like that with Unity, because Unity has a lot of capabilities. So it is a matter of what specifically you like, and putting the skills that you already have into exactly the specific path that you want to follow inside XR. The course is super good because it's exactly the step by step that needed for designers to understand that, and then you can specialize, find your specialization, and go for it. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, and just to kind of echo that, well, an example for myself would be I tried to learn Unreal Engine before I came to CircuitStream. So Unity being very similar, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of go and branch off in an engine like that. And if you want a kind of best practice package solution to kind of put you on the right track, obviously CircuitStream is a great option. So we do have great instructors who will work kind of with you at your pace, and teach you all of the kind of core components to go off and make that a career. So yeah, that's a great place to start. And thank you very much for the question, Jen. Next question is from Liam. So what's the difference between signing up with CircuitStream directly versus through a university partner? So yeah, I can take this one. Our university partners have basically a co-branded certification. So if you want recognition through a big institution, a well-established educational institution, obviously, that's something that is very helpful. Otherwise, there's no major difference. It's all the same curriculum, all the same courses, but you can do either. We see the value in being able to provide our students with those certifications through a well-recognized institution, and so certainly we definitely would happily point you in the direction of a school that is of interest to you. Awesome. So next question is from Frank. When it comes to mixed reality, do you see a tool or company in the near future that will be a game changer in the industry? For example, Apple AR glasses would be one, I guess, sample that we have yet to really see and feel. And
excluding Apple AR glasses. So he's also saying like that's not allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there is the competition is tough, right? I mean, what to decide what is coming. I mean, we see, of course, Meta pushing a lot and investing like a lot, and putting also a lot of risk in this new ecosystem. And tool or a company that is gonna change. I am not sure. Darren, what would you say, excluding Apple?
Yeah, we're in this field very okay. If you look at my desk, like my desk right now, I just have Apple products. I have the MacBook Pro, I have the iMac, and that's where I work and do all my stuff. So I'm very excited to see what's gonna come, because I have a lot of faith in that company. They put in the cell phones the possibility for the user, which of course Meta doesn't like because it's an ad-driven type of company, the possibility for the users to decide how much advertisement they want. I kind of like those things, because I like ethics in XR and etc. Like the user deciding how they want the experiences. I think that it's this company, Apple, always has been a leader in the type of products that they deliver, and there is a reason why they have been delaying. So I'm a little bit excited about that. I think that they are maybe leaders, are going to be leaders in that. We have heard Tim saying in his talks there in Europe how AR is going to transform the lives in a way that people don't even know. Like they already know what they are, of course, what is coming. It's just that we don't know yet. But I think that is going to be a very big change again when they deliver their projects related for XR. And I think that their focus is augmented reality. That's what I feel that is going to happen. It's going to be shifting to augmented reality, mixed reality, and that is also my preference, because about my kind of mindfulness thing that I like. So I like still the connection with the real world. The best use cases for the use of this technology are in cases that cannot be solved in real life, that really enhance something. For example, remote collaboration like CheckXR, or I have my family in another country. How awesome it would be that I can get my cup of coffee, my real cup of coffee, drink it, and feel that I'm in a cafe with my mom. Those type of cases are amazing, and the companies that are going to be solving these type of things in the best way are going to be the leaders for actually massive adoption.
Yeah, and specifically, I think Microsoft has kind of been in this space as a leader for a while with their HoloLens. I think a lot of the companies that have the bank to throw behind investing in this technology and hardware specifically, they're going to open up capabilities for us. And then I think we'll see a lot of kind of smaller or emerging companies come and add their kind of perspective or their experiences in a way that really, uses the technology to its fullest. And I like that you're very mindful of ethics, Diana, because that's something that I think this metaverse that we keep hearing about is gonna require to be successful. Wonderful question. Thank you very much. Was Frank. We'll go to the next one here from Liz. Are the university partners cost the same? Yes, they absolutely are. So that's a quick answer for you. Yeah, I don't know if I can expand on that too much, but yes, same tuition. Question from Kenny. What kind of contents do employers expect in your portfolio? That's a really great question. Love to hear your answers on this.
Right. I mean, one thing that I want to mention is that what is important is process. So it's not just the final outcome, but understand, okay, this is what I had, this is what how the research, so this was the problem definition, this is the research I've done or things I've tested, these are different variants, this is how I have implemented a solution, this is how I work with maybe other people in other teams to do this and do that. So I think what is very important is process. Don't just throw there the final thing, because it's just going to tell maybe 10% of the work that you have put in there. So if there is one, that would be like a very, let's say, my main thing. Whatever you are creating, something for VR, something for AR, or 3D work, graphic works, or whatever, I think in any case, just emphasize process in a way that is thoughtful, show your decision making and research and so on, because that's the main thing, because they want to understand how you are thinking, and that's the only way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, perfect. And then actually, so Circuit Stream's own Tamara, I heard her give advice to somebody looking to get into UI UX design for XR, and her advice was try to solve a problem. So if there's a real world problem out there that can be solved, that you've identified, organizations love seeing that you can kind of improve on what others are doing. So to kind of echo what Gabriela had said, they want to see your process and they want to see that you can problem solve and make things better. That is a wonderful question. Thank you. Next question is from Douglas. So can you describe the difference between design and development with Unity and the necessity of coding in each? Would either of you like to take a crack? I can certainly step in here as well.
I mean, I want to, so a lot of people say, like, is Unity, I mean, that's not something I said, right? So designers working at Meta, now working at Adobe, they're asking, Unity is not a design tool, period. Unity is a implementation tool. You do it when you are actually want to see something, right? You wanna implement an idea. But when you don't have an idea yet and you're trying to figure out things, like, for example, what's the user flow? It's like coding a website. Would you code a website from scratch? It's right? I mean, it's impossible even, right? I mean, it's crazy. So what would you do first? You get at least pen and paper and start making a drawing. Okay, this is the image, go there. This is the content. This is, I want a button there. And then you start having conversation with other people. Are you sure that what you want a button here? That's what's it like. And then you start thinking about the architecture. So let's think about this. I think that Unity is not a design tool. It might even be like a prototyping, because maybe you want a prototype interaction. That, yes, that I agree. But if you're talking about design, I think design should be disjoint from I mean, not disjoint, should come before you step into Unity, because otherwise you're going to spend so much time in there and you're going to be so attached to what you have created that you don't want to throw it away. And what's the result? Poor design, poor experience. So then that's my take.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, there's capabilities for each within Unity, right? And then if you're wanting to focus on just design, there's going to be tools that you need to be able to kind of supplement that, I guess, full process. In terms of being able to develop with Unity, it's going to help you, do all of the coding, the kind of dry, maybe it's fun for some people, but I find it's very kind of challenging and somewhat boring. but it's going to help you visualize what interactions or what, whatever experience you're trying to create through code. So it is in a sense used for both, but I don't think in terms of design, it is the only thing that you would be using in the process. But great question, Douglas. Next question is from Akshay. What is the main reason or advantage of choosing Unity over Unreal for the course? So we have we're a channel and training partner of Unity. It's basically the tool that we are most familiar with teaching. Both programs are very popular. Both programs have their strengths and weaknesses. We see Unreal Engine used in a lot of like AAA studios that are looking for high graphic fidelity. And I think in terms of programming, C++ can be a little bit more challenging. Both offer visual scripting as well, which is great. Both have their learning curve, but Unity seems to be kind of the slightly easier introductory engine to learn. And at the outset of CircuitStream, when we began, that's just the engine that we stuck with. Outside of that, both are fantastic programs or engines, and certainly if you find the strengths for one more compelling than the other, then certainly pursue that. We are going to be offering or announcing some Unreal Engine content in the future. It's something that has been in the works for a while, so certainly stay tuned.
Brendan, I was thinking to inspire people and not scare them necessarily away by the game engines. I was thinking, why not we hop Inshapes with Diana, and we get people also the chance to maybe join us and see if anybody actually in the audience has a quest, can join us Inshapes, and maybe I can stream that so that people might have a bit of an impression that it's not just coding difficult things, but can also be inspiring and fun, because that's, I think, that's very important for creatives.
I love that idea, and that's perfect timing. We are all out of questions, so we can kind of bring this to almost like a live forum.
Awesome.
Is there a way for you to stream that on Livestorm? Do you know? Or
of course, I am gonna share my screen and then I can go in. So what you see me now wearing is a Quest Pro, but it works on Quest 1 or Quest 2 per se. So you can certainly go ahead and use any headset that you might want. And let me just start here. Let me give a second, and then I'm going to share also a code for people to join in. So I'm going to share the code, and then I'm going to give people a bit of a couple minutes to join while we go in here. Let me check here. So, so this, guys, is the one where you can share shortly. So it's here. And meanwhile, Diana, we can meet in the other one that we agreed. And let me share things now. Cast, computer, next.
You both.
So let me see.
Sporting the new Quest Pro?
Yes, and let me share the screen. Wait a second, so that everybody's going to be able to see this. Right. So now people are going to be able to see me here in Shapes XR, and I'm going to enter a space right now. But what I want to show first is that this is kind of like the lobby that you get first, and this is like a great starting point. Here is a video series from our instructor that is voiced over, and you can go through it to learn the ins and outs of the tool while you build your own prototype. So I really encourage you to give a look at this one. Now let me meet where we are with. Here we go. Diana, let me know when you are in. Let's see if now I'm loading. So people, we will be in that space shortly.
I think I'm in now.
Yeah, so it's not that space, it's the other space. Let's see. Let's give people a second to join. I'm sending you in the other chat the code. So in our moderator chat, there is another code you can join there. And this is a little bit of an example. So now, what you see here is all all of our prototype design basically with 3D models, with just like parts and primitives that are present in shape. And this is what I was telling you about. The stage system is these frames here that you see that allows me basically to move forward and have the impression about how this prototype is going to actually work out. So, Diana, are you hearing me or not? Diana, I don't hear you. You're muted.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Right. In the moderator, the moderator, I've shared a code. You can
I'll
join
be
that
accessing shortly. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Good. So, and one thing that I wanted to give to show also people is the since I was mentioning about mixed reality and about pass-through and its importance, I also wanted to show what you see here is basically how this is done called pass-through, and how you can actually then start moving around and actually seeing your design at scale and have an impression of size, reach, and how all these elements can be positioned and have to be positioned in space. And here we have Diana. Hello.
That's awesome.
You can actually mute yourself in shapes and instead talk during the chat so that people can listen to us.
I'm on the old Oculus, so mine needs an update, unfortunately. I won't be joining you guys.
Yeah, you don't use it often enough, Brandon.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
So Diana, are you still with us? Right. Can you mute yourself in shapes and unmute yeah, so that people can hear us? Right. So this is a bit of an idea of this design, and this is like replicates what is this prototype for Word. Is this app where you can kind of like travel with people, and all these elements that you see here is just like an asset that has been created fully in shape. So now I'm opening the group, I'm moving and messing stuff around. I can put it back and then create this interaction just using this stage system. And again, here we go. So you see, this is actually the space, and this is actually the tower. That is that one, the one above there. It's still in construction. So now let's see maybe now let's go to stage 1 and let's see if there is anybody who joined them. So there is a smart home space. You can actually point at that, and then we're going to teleport to that one. So can you go? Let's see. Now let's go and see if anybody joined in the smart home space. Let's see. So far we have nobody. But for example, you can actually use the teleport to move around. So on the right thumbstick. Now, if you move forward, we have the teleport. So on the right thumbstick, if you move it forward, you can actually teleport around. So this one here, you can move, yes, and teleport. And this is, again, it's another prototype that shows interactions with a UI in a smart home environment, let's say. So you have here, you can order pizza, for example, and receive maybe a voice message from a friend that is coming over and say, hey, you gotta order pizza. So then better pick an option and then pick a specific topping that you might want to have. Then they say, hey, yes, we're gonna get it delivered with our friendly autonomous robot, for example. Kate will arrive in 5 minutes, and then we can. Oh, here we go, Donaldy. Hello, hi Donaldy. Nice to have you. Hi. So welcome. Good for you to join, actually. Hello. So actually, Donaldy, if you push your left thumbstick towards the right, so your left thumbstick, you move it towards the right, then you will see that, yes, your prototype will move. So now you're on stage 2. If you do it again, move your left thumb, yes, then you will go to the prototype. So now you're on stage 3, and if you keep going, you will be able to experience the full flow. So the number that is actually on Donaldi's heads represent the stage. So moving forward in the story, you can actually like experience the full prototype in VR. Oh, we got someone else. Hi, Akshay. So, nice. Thanks for joining us. So to move around also, as I was saying, you can actually use the thumbstick and point the thumbstick forward. And this will have an arc that you can actually point at the floor. And yes, perfect, Donaldi, that's how to move. And same thing for Akshay. This, when you prototype using the moving the thumbstick forward, you will also scale it one-on-one scale. So that basically you don't you can always reset that. So that's a bit of the little experience here. I know there are a couple of people joining, but I mean, you can then share your design with other people and invite them in space to actually review. And again, even during the classes at Circus Stream, people can actually join, work in group, and work on their design together. So it's not just you are at home working behind your desk. You can always, hey, let's go in my space, let's share a review, maybe come up with some great idea for the design. So this was a little bit of a quick glimpse, but more than happy to take any other question if there are in the last 5 minutes. Brendan, is there something popping in?
Yeah, let's give it a moment. If there's still viewers here, so if you have any questions, please feel free to answer or ask them in the chat or pop them in the questions tab.
Awesome. So guys, I wanted to thank Donaldi and Akshay for joining in the session. And I mean, you know where to go if you need a design and prototyping tool. That could be an option. But I guess. So let me stop sharing.
That's awesome. I'm jealous that I couldn't join you. I gotta get this updated for sure. Wonderful. So we got one more question. So Douglas, what is the maximum number of collaborators in Shapes XR? That's a great question.
So we go up to, we suggest no more than 12, just because there is also a lot of creation, real-time audio and everything going on, but we have seen people pushing up to 20. Then it's also dependent how heavy the scene is, how much stuff there is, how much stuff creation there is ongoing. That's all dependent.
Beautiful. And then another question from Frank here. What are some of the most impressive VR events that you have ever experienced?
That's Diana. You are the PR here, right? I mean, what's your take?
Events. I think that these events, like I'm attended most that are online because, of course, I'm not always in the States where many events happen. But online, I like the conferences that are done in Europe. Like so far, I've liked those ones. There is a lot of people experiencing MRTK that bring forward in this conference amazing projects. The last one, for example, I learned something interesting, which was somebody created a protocol or like a browser exclusively for metaverse. So, and then he was explaining how it was not just about an app, which we already know, but a browser that is absolutely only for metaverse. So this is innovative ideas. And I think that when we attend to these events, there are many things that we don't know that are known, right? Like well known. And these are the best opportunities to get to learn what these amazing developers are creating that we just don't know. But there are things that are amazing. So I recommend people to attend conferences online where we learn a lot from developers and designers and what they are doing. And as well, these big events. I know Gabriel has been in these amazing events about augmented reality. And I guess the bigger brands are in these events, which are a little bit different because it's what is, everybody or many people is familiar with. But in my opinion, these events that bring emerging people always have super interesting stuff to share. So you can join to these events. We can share some of the resources that are available. That also shows there is one blog that Dejan created all about events. Maybe he's gonna drop it in the chat about events that you can attend. So we can share that one.
Beautiful. Yeah, we'll see how quick on the draw Dejan is. Usually he's quicker than this, but we'll see. There's one more question here. Thank you for answering that, Diana. Question from Kenny. I tried importing a OBJ FBX file to ShapesXR. Are there a size limitation on file size? I wasn't able to import as it was over 100 megabytes.
Right. So 2 parts. Yes, there is a limit of 10 megabytes. That is low. Something that we're also trying to change in terms of file size. So we are working on having bigger files as GLB or GLTF, so to have more opportunities. I'm still not sure that you would want to import 100 megabytes file on a standalone headset because of the frame drops that you might get. I mean, you can try. It is at this point not even a Shapes problem anymore. It's just the computational power of the headset. So then usually you would end up needing some decimation to the model, maybe lowering the quality of the textures that you're using or so on, in order to just have your headset not die and you not puke after you remove it.
Not puking is always a bonus. Absolutely.
It's a good thing.
Okay, awesome.
Or the people that are in a session with you, because that is another thing, maybe being considerate with others.
Yeah, no one needs that audio feed for sure. Question from Boyd. Are development tools at the point where complex devices can be modeled and functional in XR? Ooh, interesting. Thinking in terms of replicating devices in an engineering or technology lab.
Are development tools at the point where complex devices can be modeled and functional in XR? So, I mean, I'm not sure if you refer to a VR tool, so a tool that can do that in VR, but I mean, in Unity, it's a development tool where you can create complex interaction and devices that then can be experienced in XR, right? So a lot of the training and so on, that is totally possible right now. Of course, it requires all the knowledge about the coding, the engineering, and the functionality of what you're trying to replicate. If the question is, are there something that allow you to do that in VR, where you can model, recreate that experience within VR? My answer right now will be no, because there is a lot going on that is not just, that requires complex logics that it would be very hard to implement in VR, right? What you can do is that you go to Horizon Worlds, and there you can start using some visual scripting to create some simple logic, but not complex devices. So Unity or any game engine is the answer, because it's a tool that allows you to do just that. But if you're looking for something in VR, the answer is likely no. You could start creating something simple in a place like Horizon Worlds, but it will still give you some results.
Yeah, that was an interesting question. Thank you, Boyd. Another question from Akshay. What is the typical workflow for design using ShapesXR? Do you start from reference images? And what tools would you use along with ShapesXR to publish the final experience?
Yeah, so I mean, the tools, the workflow starts with some idea or reference image that you might bring in Shapes as images, right? So you create, maybe you have some mood boards or something to inspire you. At some point, you will come up with an idea about panels or UI or something that is going to be part of that experience. You create that in the proper 2D tools. It could be Photoshop, it could be Figma. And then you import it as an image in Shapes. You can do that by making sure that the size and the pixel size is still accurate to what you were doing in Figma. And then at that point, you can start building some interaction, for example, or simulating some interaction with the stage system that you are seeing. So it's like next, and prototyping the whole user flow. At that point, depending, because sometimes what happens is that developers are fine with the communication aspect, and okay, this is how this thing should look, this is how this thing should feel, now I'm gonna code it, and you break that communication barrier that there was before, that because of the 2D tools that you were using. If that's not the case, you can still just type the code in our Unity plugin. So if you go on our Learn section on ShipsXR Learn, there you will find that there is our plugin for Unity that allows you basically to just type the code of the space, and then you will have everything that you had in Shapes but in Unity. So then at that point, even the developer could just type that code, get the whole project with the whole storyline, right, with the whole frames that he can go through, and then he can have scales and position of all the elements for his design. So this is like an example of workflow where you start with ideation, you get 2D assets that are needed from Figma, create your scene, or maybe add some 3D objects, and that is handed over as images or as just a code that the Unity developers uses to further create an interactive thing in Unity.
Okay, beautiful. Lots of great questions, lots of very specific ones, which I like to see. Another question from Douglas: how do you feel about hackathons? Are they valuable to you and your creativity? He's thinking about the MIT one that's taking place next year.
Diana, have you joined any?
Okay. I participated in one also with particularly Niantic. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. They created this, the Lightship, and they are the actual creators of Pokemon Go. And I believe there is a lot of potential for us to learn, to push forward ourselves, as I mentioned before, because there is a reason behind that. When we sit in front of the computer and there is nothing putting pressure on us, sometimes we just delay things, sometimes we just, get distracted. But when we see a timeline, that's why it's important in teams to put timelines, right, for jobs or for work. When we see a timeline and when we see a reward, the psychology always tends to take us to actually, take action. So that's what happens with hackathons. So I say, if you have a project, for example, I had also a little bit of a mindful experience that I wanted to create with some sort of music and bubbles, etc., for augmented reality, because I didn't do them before. Honestly, all that I had been using up to that point for augmented reality was the authoring tools that are available for these social media accounts, like Effect House for TikTok, Snap, and this tool, the one that is available for Facebook, for Instagram. And I wanted to be able to create something that I could push myself in a cell phone. So I signed up for that one. The experience was absolutely great. We work with teams as well. Like we work independently and with teams. And I got to meet people that I didn't know before. And we developed these incredible, even relationships and friendships. And one of them actually became kind of like my mentor for that type of tool, because he was very, very like a seasoned developer for AR using Lightship. So we never know the type of things that we're gonna create, the type of things that we're gonna opportunities that are gonna come from hackathons. I really recommend that. And if you have a small project, sign up for a hackathon, because that's the only way that you're gonna build it. If you don't have a lot of, sometimes, drive, maybe sometimes that happens in our lives, but those ones are the ones that you say, I really want to build this, but I don't know how. Sign for us a hackathon and you will get it done. At least a concept or something, but you will advance faster. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of competition. That really, I think, brings out the best of us. So anything that's going to kind of move you forward and get you experiencing new things, I definitely agree. Awesome.
And building connections, networking.
Yeah.
It's good for networking as well.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Awesome. I think that's all the questions that we have. Is there any other insights you'd like to provide? Any kind of last minute comments?
No, I mean, the only thing I want to say is that right now, I mean, the moment is really to jump in this, and don't be scared. And it's about experimenting and learning this new field that is actually more open than what you might imagine for others that are more conservative, where there has been more established. Here, everybody is a novice, right? There are really no experts. So I really encourage everybody to be entrepreneurial and test your skill, share, connect, and learn new things. And certainly CircuitStream is a great place to start.
Well, thank you very much. And again, thank you for joining us, both of you. Thank you to everyone in our audience today and everyone who registered. Again, we'll send the replay out afterwards. But for now, I think that is all. And until next time, we will, I'm sure, see you all around.
Thank you very much, Brenda. Thanks, Diana.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Bye.